Morning. My name is Reverend Joy Price. I'm the pastor here at First United Methodist Church. It is our honor to celebrate Dorothy's life today. We are going to be very full, so I'm going to encourage that any extra spots be shift to the middle there so that we can get some people on the ends. Oh, thank you. Now, see, I can tell most of you are teachers because you do as you are instructed. Okay, and we will begin shortly.
Where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops, that's where you'll find me. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Tim Whitcomb. I'm a friend of the Guthrie family. I'm going to ask you all to join me in, I'm going to read, and then you're going to respond, please, to "We Remember Them." We ask that everyone speaks up when saying "we remember them," recognizing both Dorothy and Jenna. At the rising sun and at its going down, at the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, at the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring, at the blueness of the skies and in the warmth of summer, at the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, at the beginning of the year and when it ends. As long as we live, they too will live, for they are now a part of us as we, when we are weary and in need of strength, when we are lost and sick at heart, when we have decisions that are difficult to make, when we have joy we crave to share, when we have achievements that are based on theirs. For as long as we live, they too will live, for they now are part of us as we. Thank you. Going to ask Jean Studley, best friend of Dorothy's mother, is going to do a reading from 13th Corinthians. Thank you. Can I give you-
1 Corinthians. If I could speak all the languages of earth and of angels, but didn't love others, I would only be a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. If I had the gift of prophecy, and if I understood all of God's secret plans and possessed all the knowledge, and if I had such faith that I could move mountains, but didn't love others, I would be nothing. If I gave everything I have to the poor and even sacrificed my body, I could boast about it, but if I didn't love others, I would have gained nothing. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable, and it keeps no record of being wronged. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up, never loses faith, and is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance. Prophecy and speaking in unknown languages and special knowledge will become useless, but love will last forever. Now our knowledge is partial and incomplete, and even the gift of prophecy reveals only part of the whole picture. But when the time of perfection comes, these partial things become useless. When I was a child, I spoke and thought and reasoned as a child. But when I grew up, I put away childish things. Now we see things imperfectly, like puzzling reflections in a mirror, but then we will see everything with perfect clarity. All that I know now is partial and incomplete, but then I will know everything completely, just as God knows me completely. 3 things will last forever: faith, hope, and love, and the greatest of these is love. Thank you all for being here today. Dorothy Ann Nancy Thompson Guthrie. Yes, we gave her 5 names. And now we know she's in really good company because our neighbor down in Montecito, Prince Harry's, got a lot of them too. We knew she was going to be an only child, so we had to get in all the names. Dorothy's friend Linda from work shared her explanation. My mom and dad were really old, and so they picked my mom's grandma's name. The real story is, when we found out Dorothy was going to stay and be a part of our lives, I began my name search. I came across my grandmother's name, Dorothy, and thank goodness the list was in alphabetical order. Her name means gift of God. Thank goodness the list is. Patrick and I knew that that was going to be her name. Anne is Patrick's grandmother's name. Nancy is from my side of the family. My mother, Nancy, is number 4. My middle name is Nancy, making me number 5. And Dorothy is Nancy, number 6. Thompson is my maiden name, and our family, Thompson Home Farm in Indiana, will be her resting place. Dorothy is truly our gift from God. We taught her to be independent, and boy, did she become independent. At age 3, while getting dressed for preschool, she declared she was going to dress herself from now on, and because she didn't like my choices, and her choices were definitely unique. As she grew, my friends in Mom's Club asked if I was going to homeschool her because I'm a teacher, and the answer was no. I could already tell her independence would have us butting heads if I were her teacher. She began her school at Manzanita Public Charter School, where she grew and thrived. She made lifelong friends there. When she moved on to middle school, she made more lifelong friends. High school brought more friends into her life. As she made new friends, she would bring them to our home. Sometimes there would be 4 girls sleeping in the same bed on a Saturday night. Other times she would have her boy and girl friends hanging out in her room. We could always hear their laughter. I could always count on Blake to wear his Virgins Rock t-shirt. I don't know why, but I love that shirt. Recently, Jenna became a part of our family, hanging out, sleeping over, and working with Dorothy. They found each other at just the right time to help each other get through one of life's tough situations. We're so grateful to have an extended family of Dorothy's friends and now Jenna's family. I want Dorothy's friends to know, women and men, yes, I guess I must refer to you as adults now. You are always welcome in our home. We want to know how you're doing. We want to see you continue to grow. We want to meet your boyfriends and your girlfriends. And we want to meet your future husbands and wives, and eventually your children. And we just want to know what's happening in your lives. Please know we will carry you in our hearts, and we are so grateful Dorothy brought you into our lives. We love you.
Hi everyone, and good morning. I want to start off by saying thank you to all the family and friends who showed up today to celebrate the life of our Dorothy. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lily Luna, and I'm Dorothy's best friend. I'll never forget the first day of junior high when I met Dorothy, who introduced me to Sarah. She was the girl who invited me to sit with her and her friends at lunch because I was the new girl and I didn't have any friends. I would have never known that this was the start of a lifelong friendship. Throughout the years, it has always been me, Dorothy, and Sarah. We were the trio that will always exist. I'm so thankful to have had so many memories with her that I'll always cherish and carry with me throughout the years. One of my favorite memories was Dorothy when we got the chance to go to Rolling Loud in 2021. And the story behind it was we had a coworker that was selling tickets the week of. And I FaceTimed Dorothy and I was like, so do you want to go to Rolling Loud? It was our dream to go. And she was like, duh, I'm down. So we went. It was a super last minute trip, just like all of our other adventures were. She was always down for a good time. Dorothy loved music, for those of you who did not know. She was the first to play a new song or listen to a new artist because she loved to put people on to new music, especially cute boys. She always wanted to, you know. You always knew Dorothy was at your house when you heard her coming down the street with her speakers on full blast. She was always ready to party and live her best life. She was always making new friends everywhere we went. Dorothy was a person who valued all of her friendships. She was always good at checking in with her friends and catching up. That girl was the life of the party, and she liked to make it known. Dorothy was always living life unapologetically, which is what all of her friends and I will always admire her for. That girl is going to be missed by so many. And I never understood how a phone call could change your life. On Friday morning, when Kathy called me, that was my phone call. We had so many memories to make. And 7.5 years of friendship wasn't enough time with her. I wish I wasn't standing here giving this speech because I was supposed to get the chance to speak at her wedding. We always talked about weddings, and how I was going to be her maid of honor and she was going to be mine. And we were going to plan bachelorette parties in Vegas. Yeah. Dorothy wanted a big, beautiful winter wedding because she was supposed to be an NBA wife. She was robbed of so much life, and she always wanted to be a high school English teacher, which she was going to school for and following in her mom's footsteps. I still can't seem to understand how this is so real. She was my shoulder to cry on, and the sister I didn't have, and the person you could FaceTime or call at any time of the day, and the person who would drop whatever she was doing to come see you if you needed her. We'll love you forever, Dorothy. And you'll always be here with us. She would have loved to see you all here together with us, and thank you.
Good morning. My name is Courtney, and this is my sister Morgan. We are Dorothy's cousins. I will be reading the blessing of the mourners. It's okay. It's okay. Those who are worn out and crushed by this morning, let your hearts consider this. This is the path that has existed from the time of creation and will exist forever. Many have drunk from it, and many will yet drink. As was the first meal, so shall be the last. May the Master of Comfort comfort you. Blessed are those who comfort the mourners.
Hello all, my name is Isabella and I was Dorothy's friend. I will be reading On Death by Khalil Gibran. You would know the secret of death, but how shall you find it unless you seek it in the heart of life? The owl whose night-bound eyes are blind unto the day cannot unveil the mystery of light. If you would indeed behold the spirit of death, open your heart wide unto the body of life. For life and death are one, even as the river and the sea are one. In the depth of your hopes and desires lies your silent knowledge of the beyond. And like seeds streaming beneath the snow, your heart dreams of spring. Trust the dreams, for in them is hidden the gate to eternity. Your fear of death is but the trembling of the shepherd when he stands before the king, whose hand is to be laid upon him in honor. Is the shepherd not joyful beneath his trembling, that he shall wear the mark of the king? Yet is he not more mindful of his trembling? For what is it to die, but to stand naked in the wind and to melt into the sun? And what is it to cease breathing, but to free the breath from its restless tides, that it may rise and expand and seek God unencumbered? Only when you drink from the river of silence shall you indeed sing. And when you have reached the mountain top, then you shall begin to climb. And when the earth shall claim your limbs, then shall you truly dance.
My name is Bob Cook. I'm a friend of the Guthries, Dorothy. I was asked to get up here and speak a few of my memories that were special to me. Bear with me, please. When I was at a time of transition in my life in 2008, I started working for the Guthries. They were gracious enough to give me a job, and part of that was spending a lot of time over at their house. It was the holiday season, and there was this little, probably, I'm guessing, 5-year-old girl who wasn't quite sure what to make of me, figuring out whether she liked me or not. Come Christmas time, they're passing out presents. I'm at the house for Christmas, and Patrick gives me this one little box, and he says, "Here, give this. This is from you." It was a Zune, which was a little alternative to an iPod for those who don't know. And, oh, she opened that thing up, and she just ran over and gave me a big hug and was talking about how it's just the best Christmas present ever. I was in. That was it. Christmas was always and I'm sure still is, a big time at the Guthrie clan. People think that Santa's workshop was at the North Pole, but nah, it was over on Coleman Drive every year. Another memory that I had with Dorothy was, again, Christmas related. It's this old recliner that they'd always put in front of the fireplace because they knew that I just had a fascination with that fireplace. And I'd be up before anybody starting a fire. And eventually Dorothy would wander out and see what's up, and probably wishing Mom and Dad would get up pretty soon so she could get her presents. Don't remember if it was the first Christmas there or the second Christmas there, but one of the most touching moments was when she came out and I was sitting in that recliner chair, and she decided to climb up in the recliner chair next to me. and you just sit there, and it just brought a tear to my heart. And I'm never going to forget that. There's a lot of memories that I'll never forget, with Dorothy. Many of you are holding the picture that you're looking at was taken at our wedding. She was one of our flower girls. Patrick and Kathy will probably remember this one. I don't think there was anybody over at the house, but I think Dorothy had a phase for 2 or 3 days that she wanted to be a dental hygienist, and she wanted to give me a dental examination. So I'm laying down on the floor, and she's putting toothpaste in my mouth, and she's got this little plastic toy thing that she decided to use as a dental tool, and starts cleaning my teeth with this thing. What I don't think anybody else realized is that the little moving part was actually a really hard plastic or metal. Kind of disconcerting, but I sat there anyways and let her finish her thing. And yeah, she was a character. And I'm not going to take up much more of your time, but the last one that I want to remember, and it just came to me this morning, is that as she got a little bit older, they had a swing set in the backyard, and she liked to get on that swing. And I think Mom would always tell her to be careful, and not go so high. But Kathy would always higher, push it higher. And when it would finally get to a very high swing to where the old swing set's actually rocking, she would just like tilt her head back and close her eyes, and God knows what was going through her mind at that moment. But I'm going to choose to remember Dorothy as she would have been living her life with her head back and her eyes closed, just imagining possibilities that would come next. That's all I got. Thanks for letting me ramble.
My name is David Boyd, and I'm a friend of the family's, and Patrick is actually my spiritual brother. White ashes. Nothing is more fragile and fleeting in this world than the life of a person. Thus, we have not heard of a human life lasting for 1,000 years. Life swiftly passes, and who among people can maintain his form for even 100 years? Whether I go before others or others go before me, whether it be today or it be tomorrow, who is to know? Those who leave before us are countless as drops of dew. Though in the morning we may have radiant health, in the evening we may return to white ashes. When the winds of impermanence blow, our eyes are closed forever. And when the last breath leaves us, our face loses its color. Though loved ones gather and lament, everything is to no avail. The body is then sent into an open field and vanishes from this world with the smoke of cremation, leaving only the white ashes. There is nothing more real than this truth of life. The fragile nature of human existence underlies both the young and the old, and therefore we must, one and all, turn to the teachings of our own Buddhas and waken to the ultimate source of life. By so understanding the meaning of death, we shall come to fully appreciate the meaning of this life, which is unrepeatable, and thus to be treasured above all else. By virtue of true compassion, let us live together with the thought of Buddha in our hearts. I have very few memories. I'm jealous of all of you. I have very few memories of Dorothy. I know her secondhand from my brother talking to me about her and how much she meant to him. But the one I have changed my life. I came from a long line of guarded gate communities which I was unable to leave. And I had no place in this world. I had no footing. I didn't know how to live here. And I got a call from my friend Patrick that he was down in Disneyland with Kathy and with Dorothy. She was like 3, and he was spending the day, and he wanted me to be there. I hadn't been around children, families, anything like that in decades. And this little girl, everywhere we went, she would see the joy in the moment and turn and share it with me, and turn and share it with Patrick, and turn and share it with her mom. And she made me feel like a person of value and worth in this world. And I will never, ever forget that. I love you, Patrick.
Good morning. I was known to Dorothy as Mrs. Ahrens. I had the privilege of having Dorothy as a student in my class for both her first and second grade years. As a teacher, you always have those, I'm sorry for my voice, you always have those certain students you know you will never forget for one reason or another. But Dorothy was one of those students to me, not only because of her spunkiness and her sense of humor, but also as her to see the way she would light up the room with her beautiful big blue eyes and her contagious smile, as we can see in all her pictures too. It was obvious from the start of first grade how gifted, talented, and very clever Dorothy was. She made friends so easily and always seemed to have friends by her side. It is very special to see how many of those friendships have still continued to blossom over the years. I remember Dorothy loved her pets very much. She would mostly talk about Mr. Noodles and his shenanigans. Dorothy was a great helper. To this day, I remember how seriously she took her class job of being the technology assistant. Back then, there were only 3 desktop computers per class, and it was a new thing for most kids. But she knew exactly how to use them and was always willing to help. Thanks, Patrick, for passing that skill on to her. Dorothy was fortunate to go on so many different adventures with her family and friends. So many. She was sure to write all about those adventures in class in a very detailed way in her daily writing journal. Anytime she shared her writing aloud in class, all eyes and ears were instantly on her. We couldn't wait to hear what she wrote about next because we knew she would entertain us and make us all chuckle. I always told her she would be a famous author when she grew up. I remember at conferences, which, by the way, her parents never missed a single conference. Amazing parents. She was a little shy and nervous at first to show her work to them and see her report card, but by the end, she was so proud and ready to conquer the world. Even as a young child, Dorothy knew what she wanted and was never afraid to speak up for herself and others. She would be the first one to let me know if someone was hurt or if something needed to be taken care of. I was so proud to see her grow into a strong and independent young woman. As the years went by, she would return to Manzanita from time to time to visit her mother's classroom and for special occasions. She would usually pop into my classroom in her stylish fashion to say hi and see if I needed help with anything. I still remember when she came barging into my classroom door to show me she received her driver's license. She was ecstatic. Her presence always filled me with joy. With seeing all the support here today for Dorothy and her family, it is quite obvious that she was loved by so many. Thank you, Patrick and Kathy, for blessing us with the time and presence that we had with sweet, precious Dorothy. Only a moment she stayed, but what an imprint she left in our hearts.
I am Beth, Dorothy's aunt. This is my daughter Jessica, her cousin. We're going to read On Love by Cahill Gabron. When love beckons you, follow him, though his ways are hard and steep, and his wings enfold you, yield to him. Though the sword hidden among his pinions may wound you, and when he speaks to you, believe in him. Though his voice may shatter your dreams, as the north wind lays waste to the garden.
For as even as love crowns you, so shall he crucify you. Even as he is for your growth, so is he for your pruning. Even as he ascends to your height and caresses your tenderness branches that quiver in the sun, so shall he descend to your roots and shake them in their clinging to the earth.
Like sheaves of corn, he gathers you unto himself. He threshes you to make you naked. He sifts you to free you from your husk. He grinds you to whiteness. He kneads you until you're a pliant. And then he assigns you to his sacred fire, that you may become sacred bread for God's sacred feast.
All of these things shall love do unto you, that you may know the secrets of your heart, and in that knowledge become a fragment of life's heart. But if in your fear you would seek only love's peace and love's pleasure, then it is better for you that you covered your nakedness and pass out of love's threshing floor, into the seasonless world where you shall laugh, but not all of your laughter, and weep, and not all of your tears.
Love gives not but itself, and takes not but itself. Love possesses not, nor would it be possessed. For love is sufficient unto love. When you love, you should not say, God is in my heart, but rather, I am in the heart of God. And think not you can direct the course of love, for love, it finds you worthy and directs your course.
Love has no other desire but to fulfill itself. But if you love and must needs have desires, let these be your desires. To melt and be like a running brook that sings its melody to the night. To know the pain of too much tenderness. To be wounded by your own understanding of love. And to bleed willingly and joyfully.
To wake at dawn with a winged heart, give thanks for another day of loving. To rest at the noon hour and meditate love's ecstasy. To return home at eventide with gratitude, and then to sleep with a prayer for the beloved in your heart and a song of praise upon your lips.
My name is Patrick Guthrie, and I'm Dorothy's dad. I promise this isn't going to be a train wreck, okay? We're so grateful to have so many people here. The first people that came in from my side of the family was the Manglers, which is my sister's maiden name, her married name. Her husband's a doctor. I always wondered how that went over the intercom. Dr. Mangler, please come to the emergency room. I'm just saying. But they came in like the cavalry and lifted us up. And a lot of what you're reading and seeing and everything organized was with my sister's hand. And I will forever be grateful to her. I want to reach out and thank all the people that are on the feed, on the internet feed. It's going to millions. No, I know my dad is watching, and I want to tell him that I love him and that he's not forgotten. He's unable to be here. I want to thank the Manzanita crew for lifting us up and showing up and taking over for Kathy's class. Teaching is, it's just her life. And it was very hard to walk away from that. And this tragedy is overwhelming. The grief is overwhelming. And everybody that came over lifted us up. And every hug that we got, and we continue to get, lessens the load just a little. People tell me they can't imagine what it's like. And I got to tell you, I can't imagine what it's like either. I just step one foot in front of the other. Had a couple dear friends that have gone through the same thing with the loss of a daughter, and they've been a tremendous help. Some of you know I'm a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. We do maintain anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films, but this is not that. This is me telling you that my entire life, everything that I have, is because of my membership in that organization. So grateful to have 19 years with a beautiful daughter. We are so grateful to have had her for 19 wonderful years. You know, when she was born, I was at the hospital, and my AA friends are going, "Don't do it, dude. Don't go there." I was right there. I'm talking in the stirrups, you know. Here's the deal, fellas. If you have a girlfriend or a wife, whatever, stay in the waiting room, okay? Because I was like, oh my God. And Kathy is screaming. And the doctor is like, back up, son. And out she popped like a bloody baby burrito. They wrapped her up. And she smiled at me. And didn't stop smiling at me until she was about 14. At that point, she grew horns. She came in one time, I don't remember what, she was coming out of the shower with a towel wrapped around her. And I noticed there was a heart tattoo on her. It's like, what the hell? You've got to understand, I played in a punk rock band in the 80s. I never got any tattoos. I managed to get through it. Not Dorothy. She made up for it. She had another tattoo that said blessed, like that would make it okay. God help me. She had another one here and a water lily, and they all had meaning. And God, I'm going to miss her. There was no holdback. There was nothing left unsaid. She knew how I felt, and I knew how she felt. I gave her everything, all my heart, all my love, and all my money. The last text I got from her, in fact, was that Friday afternoon, and she said, "I love you, Daddy." And she put the little heart emoji on there. But really, the text before with that was, "I zelled you $100." For those of you who don't know, Zelle is an electronic way of transferring money to an account. The grief and despair is deep. It's dark. It retches up inside you. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Jerry, Brandy, the racking crying, the animal noises coming out of our house from the pain, and our dear neighbors coming over and crying with us, and our dear friends. In Alcoholics Anonymous, you know, we show up for each other. And the AA Army is here en masse today. I took a lot of meetings into the prisons. Lompoc USP, CMC. It's often a joke. I've been to more prisons than most of those guys. The only thing is they let me out, which is really cool. And Dorothy told me, "Do you have any friends that weren't in prison?" I said, "Not any good ones." Dorothy would have loved this. She loved all the drama. She did. You know, her favorite book and movie was A Fault in Our Stars. If you don't know, it's about two kids that got cancer and they're dying and they end up dying at the end. I mean, it's horrible. And they would watch it, Sarah and her, they'd run just cry. I'm like, "What is going on? Are you all right?" "It's okay, Dad. Just leave us alone." Why would you torture yourself like that? But she loved it. She did. I speak at a lot of AA meetings, and I took her with me. And my story is, it's tragic, some of it, and painful. And I never hid it from her. I let her have it all the tragedy, all the pain. And she loved it, especially when we spoke up in Studio City, because there were movie stars up there. I won't say who, because this is a program of attraction, not promotion, and it's a level of press, radio, and films. But she did like it. She liked driving with me up there, and we would stop and get sushi, and she would order like 5 things and eat half of one of them, you know. All of her meals were like a la carte, special order. Her idea of camping was a hotel without room service, you know. We spoiled her. We did. I'll tell you what, she spoiled me. She spoiled us. There's a card back there on the table someplace. It's a birthday card from her, and she said, "Daddy, I'll love you forever." And I feel the same exact way. I can't say goodbye to her because I feel her all around me. I do. She had so many of my assets and a few of my defects. One of them is my ability to curb my language. And I am one to drop a lot of F-bombs, and she somehow used it as a pronoun, a noun, an adverb, a verb, and a proposition, all in the same sentence. I'm sorry, Nancy. I know that was hard. Her grandmother would just cringe. But she never said anything. I know Sarah, you and her had a falling out. I don't know what it was over. I don't want to know. It's probably over a boy or something best left unsaid. But I can hear her talking to me. And she says things like, "It's okay. You don't understand, but you will." And we were in the bedroom, her bedroom, and Sarah and Lily were going through her shoes, which are mass. And they're like, "Oh my God, she's got the Air Force One. She's got the blue something or something." All the shoes have names. And I said, "Take what you want." And what I heard Dorothy was said, "Don't give my fucking shoes to Sarah." If you know her, it was right there. I told her, "You don't need them, babe." It smelled like skunk weed in our house a lot of times. Thanks to you guys. Her friends were diverse and loving and caring and happy, and the music was loud. If you went to the viewing last night, we played her playlist. Yeah, it was perfect. It was foul and loud. She would have loved it. Here's what I wish for all of you and what I'm doing. I've got no hate in my heart. I can't hate the gentleman who crossed the double yellow line and hit him head on and killed him. I just can't. I can't hate the God of my understanding. I just can't. The other thing I can't do, and I hope that you can find the same strength, is to ask those questions that lead to the ultimate of self-pity. The ones like, why? The ones like, why couldn't it have been me? Why did this happen? All of those questions lead to nothing but darkness and pain. So what I choose to say is just that I'm going to remember the love. And I hope that you can too. My dear friend Joe is going to come up here and close us out in a prayer. And I just want you to know, Joe, I love you very much. I don't know where you're at. I can't see. Oh, I see you now. And your wife, too. When Dorothy was 1.5 years, they've been through the same exact thing. Their daughter was 17. At the time, I thought, I don't want that to happen to my little girl. And I was so afraid. I'm a runner. I don't want to feel any pain. I run from it. That's me. And I showed up for that. And I watched him walk through it. And it gave me the strength to know that I can walk through it. And I know this is painful for a lot of her friends. I know it is. Lily, you are so strong. You are. And I know this is hard. But I'm so very grateful you showed up. I am. Jean, you're her best friend. And you were over there 10 minutes after I called, dropped everything, and spent the whole day until I got back. I really appreciate that. And I want to thank all of you. I do. I could name everyone. I could. I'm just so grateful. That's my heart is full of gratitude. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. For those so moved, please join Kathy and Patrick and myself in the we version of the Serenity Prayer. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen.
Whenever I would go and visit Patrick and Kathy and the family, I would bring Dorothy Red Hots. They were always her favorite. She's like, hey. Yeah. I want to thank you all for being here. There's some music, there's some food, we're gonna, thank you, Pat. Thank you all. Okay, Joy.
As our friends from Starbuck Lind come forward to take Dorothy on this final ride, I invite the pallbearers to come. If you would, stand in the center aisle. For the rest of you, we're going to ask you to remain seated for a little bit. Well, we have lots of pallbearers. That's good. All right, let's do 3 on each side and the remainder in the back. The family will follow the casket, and they're going to go over to the hall where lunch has been prepared. We're going to invite them to go through the food line first. And then as they clear the sanctuary, you may exit. Let me remind you, if you haven't already, I know a few people didn't have a chance, please stop and sign the guest book and join us as we enjoy Dorothy's life, her love, her incredible self. You may go.